revolutionizing recovery. So we'll get a little bit into our purpose. So everyone knows sports injuries that have changed the trajectory of athletes' careers. Whether that is friends in youth sports, your favorite college athletes, or the star player on your favorite professional team, every sports fan dreads these moments, and even more the athletes. Recall Utah Utes quarterback Cameron Rising, who led the Utah Utes to 2 consecutive Rose Bowls to tear his ACL in the Penn State game and return as a shell of his former self, robbing Utah Utes fans of multiple national championships. Next, recall the career of Derrick Rose, the youngest NBA MVP ever, giving Chicago Bulls fans hope the likes of which they had never seen since the days of Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan. But after an incredible MVP season in the playoffs, he tore his ACL and returned, and he was never the same as he was before, robbing himself of millions of dollars of earnings. And finally, Tyrese Halliburton led his Indiana Pacers to a magical playoff run this past season, upsetting teams and facing a juggernaut Oklahoma City Thunder team in the finals, where in Game 7 in the first quarter, he tore his Achilles because he returned to play too early after a calf injury. Or even my own budding ski career, which was tragically cut short before it even started due to an injury on slopes. So anyways, this is a huge problem, injury recovery, and there is no current method of data-based recovery monitoring that exists, forcing providers to rely on subjective metrics to guide clinical decisions on when athletes can return. Additionally, patients constantly are losing motivation to do their physical therapy exercises, with over 55% of patients post-ACL recovery do not comply with their physical therapy, leading to significantly reduced outcomes post-surgery and reduced recovery as well. Additionally, clinicians spend hours upon hours writing reports on follow-ups where nothing has really changed. The average clinician can spend an average of 3 hours every half day writing a report for a follow-up appointment, instead of focusing on what really matters, like recovery. So, providers and patients need data upon which to guide clinical decisions. In a world filled with data and information, we are forced to rely on vague timetables and precedent, and patients and providers deserve better. Tracking vital recovery metrics such as strength, range of motion, and PT compliance would help patients play a more active role, being able to visualize their recovery progress in real time. And additionally, would help providers clear the veil and be able to understand what's going on a patient-by-patient basis. Additionally, automated reporting and these metrics would empower clinicians to focus on the healing process and their patients, not paperwork.
Thank you, John. After hearing these stories, one thing is definitely clear. John is living in the past, but so is recovery. We have been tracking steps, heart rate, and sleep, yet when it comes to recovery, we're still relying on old timelines and intuition. Atlas Health is changing this. Our flagship product, the Smart Knee Brace, is transforming the recovery process into something measurable, personal, and transparent. With an array of electronic sensors, it monitors movement, strength progression, and compliance in real time. That data is then shared with patients and providers through our app, creating a continuous feedback loop. No more guesswork, no more wasted visits, just data-driven recovery that keeps both sides engaged. So this isn't a small issue. Every year, 175,000 ACL reconstructions take place in the US alone. Of that number, 85% of patients are prescribed a knee brace post-surgery. Additionally, 2 out of 3 physicians are already using AI tools in their practice right now. This proves that the behavior that we built our product around is already standard practice. So we're not changing behavior, we're enhancing it with technology that captures what was invisible before, patient recovery metrics. So let's take a look at the market size. The global smart portable rehabilitation device market is valued between 2.5 and $5.8 billion, with a compound annual growth rate of 15% projected through 2029. Within that, 0.5 to $2 billion is spent on the U.S. knee rehabilitation and orthopedic monitoring. And finally, our beachhead, our beachhead, which is the regional sports and clinical rehab market, represents $5 to $20 million in immediate opportunity. These segments together represent a market that is rapidly expanding and has clear, validated demand with minimal behavioral. Okay, sorry guys. With minimal behavioral boundaries. To navigate this market, we must keep in mind the FDA landscape. That means we need to create a regulatory strategy, and we have done that. That is straightforward and evidence-based. This regulatory strategy will position us for Class 2 510K clearance and ensure clinical credibility and commercial scalability. Our roadmap is centered on safety, data validation, and real-world performance to ensure that when we prepare for submission, we're not just checking boxes, but we're creating trust. In short, our path is clear, compliant, and built to last.
All right, so now let's talk about our go-to-market and adoption strategy. So far, we have currently been in preliminary talks with the University of Utah and BYU to enter into their physical therapy and athletic department clinics, where we will begin our first trials and data collection. After we obtain this foothold, we are looking to become a preferred choice for Utah NCAA athletic departments and physical therapy clinics. After we obtain this foothold in the state of Utah, we intend to join trade shows and industry events in order to further expand our brand to the national scene. So far, we have identified 4 main competitors in this space. The first one I'd like to talk about is Kwangmi, which is a sort of budget knee brace company. They do have knee braces with adjustments to obtain comfort, but nothing quite like what Atlas is doing. The other one is DonJoy, who is probably the biggest knee brace manufacturer in the country. They do have knee braces with sensors, but nothing quite like what Atlas is doing. Sword is a tool that physical therapists can use to identify compliance within people for physical therapy. However, there's no hardware component involved in the product. The last one is Sensoria, who is likely the most similar to what we are currently doing. They do have knee braces with sensors that track things like range of motion and things like that. However, they lack the Atlas Recover IQ technology, which we'll be using to empower physicians. So, for our advantages, as I said earlier, we have the machine learning and data collection technology, which empowers clinicians to make informed decisions. This will decrease re-injury risk and automate their workflows, providing patient-by-patient data, which using that will empower clinicians to further their goals. It's also important to note that Atlas's app is simple and elegant, which will allow almost anyone to use the data on it in order to make aid decisions. As for our business model, we have identified 3 main revenue streams. The first one is our hardware sales, where braces will be sold for a one-time upfront cost. The second is our software sales. This will be included a yearly subscription in order to utilize the data that is collected from the knee brace. Our last form of revenue will be our data collection. This will allow patients to opt in to allow their data to be stored on our servers, where it will be sold to health insurance providers in order to better allow them to assess patient-by-patient risk. And introducing our team, I'm Matthew Perkins, and I'm the lead in design and customer outreach.
I'm Daniel Brinkerhoff. I'm the Chief Technology Officer in charge of data science and machine learning.
I'm John Cook. I'm the CEO and co-founder, and I'll be in charge of branding and business development for Atlas. And as for the ask, we are asking for $2 million of funding in order to fund initial clinical trials, further technology development, and machine learning model training. Investors can expect a 6-7x return after 5 years. So, the next time our favorite players like Tyrese Halliburton, Derrick Rose, or Cam Rising go down on the field, let's empower clinicians to help them return the same way that they left the field. Atlas is not only a knee brace, but it's a revolution in the recovery industry. So join us in revolutionizing recovery, smarter, safer, and one step at a time. Thank you, and we'll now take questions.